Up front tonight, Tim Clemente, former FBI counterterrorism agent, along with Jeff Porter, advisor on political and security risks in North Africa. Good to see both of you together tonight. Jeff, let me start with you. You just heard Brian Todd reporting, that perhaps al-Asiri has trained others. So he's the most wanted guy. The U.S. hasn't been able to get him.
That's right.
But if they do, there would be others who would have been trained in these sorts of devices of implanting, as he said, in household caulk, something dogs and machines would not be able to pick. Once he's gone, would the threat go away?
No, it would change, right? I mean, one of the things that al-Asiri would be able to do would be transfer the current bomb-making techniques to trainees or to his disciples. But you would lose that innovative component. What makes al-Asiri so dangerous is that he has been innovative. He's been creative. Some people use their creative juices.
Incredibly bright.
Right. I mean, some people use creative juices for good, and in this instance, he's using his creative, innovative techniques for evil. So you'll have a transfer of the current technology, but you'll lose that innovative drive, which should mitigate some of the risk in the future. So
Tim, how hard is it to catch him? We hear always so much about drone attacks and frankly, about a lot of successful drone attacks, but it kind of amazes me, someone this important, the U.S. doesn't know where he is.
Well, it's hard to keep track of people like this, but as far as catching him, the only way that's going to happen isn't going to be with satellites or electronic technology. It's going to be done with human intelligence. And that's what's foiled most of these plots that we've seen in the past. There was somebody on the inside or somebody posing as a collaborator that ended up giving up the plot, and we're going to need that in this case. So we need situational awareness. We need people on the ground, and unfortunately, Yemen is a very, very hostile place to try and put someone or to have assets be directed.
And Jeff, when you look at names of who's important in al-Qaeda, and obviously al-Qaeda has changed, right? It's morphed, but yet there are individuals in different places that have become incredibly powerful and incredibly important. How many of those individuals are there right now?
We don't know. A dozen? Two dozen?
So? Okay.
I mean, this is something that's constantly evolving.
Right. So what does it say to you? I mean, obviously, Asiri is not the only one that the U.S. is worried about right now. In Yemen, the man who's in charge of al-Qaeda Arabian Peninsula, Nasir al-Wuhashi, sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, but has been named number 2 by Ayman al-Zawahiri.
That's right.
So what does that mean?
Well, the fact that AQAP, or a member of AQAP, has been named number 2 of al-Qaeda is, I think, an indication of the success of Zawahiri's attempts to create AQ affiliates, or al-Qaeda affiliates, al-Qaeda franchises throughout the world.
Right.
So we're no longer dealing with just al-Qaeda Central. We're dealing with al-Qaeda Central plus all of the al-Qaeda affiliates.
In the Arabian Peninsula, in Mali, in Libya, you name it. All these different offshoots.
Jabhat al-Nusra in Syria.
Right, which many say, of course, could be among the most powerful right now. Tim, Congressman Peter King, who's always famously very open about what he thinks about these things, to the angst of some and the relief of others. But he said over the weekend that, quote, al-Qaeda is in many ways stronger than it was before 9/11. Would you agree with that assessment in any way?
The way I would agree with it is that they've gone underground more. They used to be far more open. Their communications were more open. They would use, techniques and emails and other things, but they would communicate that way. Now we've seen with the capture of bin Laden, going after his personal courier was the way we got to him, and some of these other people, it's hard to find out their communication networks. So again, it's hard to find out their specifics as far as where they're operating and where they're communicating. Guys like this that are being protected, al-Asiri within Yemen, in the mountains of Yemen, you got to get people inside there, and the agency is doing that, and other aspects of the national security apparatus are at work. But it's a tough fight tonight to find a needle like this in a haystack.
And of course, it's a race.